Yeah, Brandis, thank you very much. Protesters took to the streets this weekend, both in Little Village and other parts of the city, after the Civilian Office of Police Accountability released videos of police fatally shooting 13-year-old Adam Toledo. Little Village has been in the spotlight over the last few weeks, as have conversations surrounding gang violence and disinvestment in that community. Today we hear from neighborhood organizations on the ground working to help residents, connecting community members and resources, and some violence prevention initiatives that they're working on as well. Joining us to discuss how the Little Village community is responding to the video and to talk about work community organizations are doing in the neighborhood are Solomon Martinez, Youth Program Manager at the Erie Neighborhood House in Little Village, Berto Aguayo, Executive Director of Increase the Peace, a violence prevention organization that has a chapter in Little Village, and Baltazar Enriquez, President of the Little Village Community Council. Welcome all of you to Chicago tonight. Baltazar, several days now have passed since that video was released. What is the tenor of the community right now? What are you hearing from community residents in Little Village?
Well, first, thank you for inviting us. Our residents are, resilient. They're strong. It's a strong neighborhood. Seeing the video did hurt us a lot. Like, it broke us down to the core. And we're learning from this experience, and we're moving on. We're moving on. We wiped our tears, and, we know what we have to do to protect Little Village. Little Village, we are now moving forward to see if we can do policy changes with the mayor, see if the mayor really wants to come talk to real grassroots organizations, not organizations that she funds, that she runs, that she pimps. We don't need those type of organizations. We need real grassroots organizations that are in the streets, that know the members, that know the residents, and that's what the Little Village Community Council is.
All right,
so
expanding
we're
on
moving
that,
forward on policies.
Berto Aguayo, how does Little Village move forward, and what do you want from the mayor's administration to help that community heal?
Well, yeah, as Baltasar mentioned, we are in a transitional moment where we're turning our anguish into action. And yesterday was a pivotal moment in doing that. Organizations like Little Village Community Council and a lot of other organizations in Little Village came together to have a peace walk where more than 1,000 people showed out for the community to demand that we fund our neighborhoods, that we invest in violence prevention, jobs for our young people, housing, wraparound services. We've said enough is enough. The common denominator between police and street violence is disinvestment, and you can only solve that with investment. So that's what we're asking for, and we're not going to give up until we get it.
And Solomon, your organization works with a lot of youth in Little Village. Given that Adam Toledo was 13 years old, what has been the reaction from kids of a certain age, of a similar age?
For sure. And I think that a lot of people, not only youth, are coping with this reality in a lot of different ways. And one of the things that we see is, right, this is a single incident in a long history of community violence and state violence in Little Village. And so for a lot of youth, a lot of what they're trying to do is find that space where they feel good, where they feel whole, because this hurts, right? People are also trying to grieve, right? But they're grieving this amidst a lot of other things. And then they're also looking for that space where their rage and their passion can work towards change.
Baltazar, in Little Village, we've talked about the population of undocumented immigrants. There's a distrust of immigration agents, obviously, but how about police-community relations? Do you feel that most of the community there trusts the police, wants the police to protect their neighborhoods, or has a distrust of the police, especially in light of what happened or what we saw in that video last week?
So Little Village is the mecca of Mexican Americans. And we are the port of immigrants, and a lot of our residents don't know that they have the human right to find out who hurt them, to find out who was the aggressor. So in the Adam Toledo case, the reason we got this tape so quickly is because we educated our community that they have the right to a Freedom of Information Act. And that Freedom of Information Act is what moved this campaign forward on getting the tapes released. But the community doesn't know their rights. The community is scared or even complain that the police had harassed them or beat them up. And sometimes those things are not recorded or brought up to the light that these individuals have hurt them. And so, yeah, there's a mistrust already because immigration has already marginalized them. And now, again, you got the CPD department that is not family friendly, it's not community friendly. It's more of shoot first, ask questions later.
So maybe there's still a reticence among many residents to talk to any kind of law enforcement, be they ICE or be they police officers. Berto, there's been the issue of gang violence discussed in connection with this somewhat. Little Village is a very tightly knit community, but it also does struggle with a gang problem. Can you talk about what kind of presence gangs have in that community?
Yeah, one of the things that we know to be true, again, is that police and gang violence, street violence, have the same common denominator, disinvestment. When you look at communities like Little Village, like Back of the Yard, like Englewood, communities that have high levels of violence, they're also the very same communities with the highest levels of youth unemployment, right? Where it's harder to find an after-school program to engage in, where it's harder to find a mental health clinic to go to. Little Village is one of those neighborhoods where you have 71% of young people that are unemployed, right? So in order for us to not have gangs fill the void that those things create, we need to be able to invest in our young people, give them an opportunity, give them some mentorship, some guidance, give them an art class, give them the ability to be able to figure out for themselves what is it they would like to be engaged in. Otherwise, gangs will fill that void. And in order for us to stop the violence, we need to invest in our young people and to fund the hood.
And Solomon, when you look at the age of Adam Toledo, right at that age where, you know, it seems like he's kind of at a precipice to try and figure out what path he wants to go down. When you hear what Berto says there about the unemployment rate, disinvestment, how do you work with kids to help them, steer them away from the lure of going down that road?
Well, and gang involvement is way more complicated than there's not a job, so I'm joining a gang, right?
Right.
And I think that a lot of what we're trying to do is we're trying to create a community where people can dream and those dreams have impact, right? The thing that a youth wants to do is available for them. And I think that's one of the things that a lot of the youth in Little Village are constantly navigating is I want to do this, but I don't have this option. This is not available for me. And even within school, it's a lot of the different vocational programs, a lot of the different after-school programs, they're tailored towards this narrative of what it means to be a good immigrant, to be a good person from the hood, versus really creating space for them to create their own dreams and then to actually access and take hold of those dreams. And so, I really want to echo what Berto said about the idea that we really need to invest in our youth. And what Jorge said, our youth are so resilient. This community is so resilient. And if the opportunity was available, people would take it and we would see that difference.
Certainly is resilient and close-knit. I've spent a lot of time in Little Village. And earlier this afternoon, we spoke with Ane Botello, an 18-year-old from Little Village who led the peace walk that happened yesterday. Here's a clip about what she believes her community needs.
We need more resources, more mental health resources. We need activists, therapists, counselors. We need people who are for our people, not against our people. You know, we need people that can empathize, that can sympathize, that understand why we are the way we are and what we're going through and actually see potential in us.
Baltazar, talking about opportunities, your organization, the Little Village Community Council, offers assistance for college preparedness, college readiness. Can you just talk about how important some of those programs are and what kind of impact you've seen in that community?
So, I'm going to use myself as an example. Like when I graduated from high school, my dad said, "Hey, man, that's enough of that free ride. It's time for you to work." So in his mentality, there was not a college future for me. But I went to Harold Washington, I went to Malcolm X, I got a certificate as a phlebotomist, and then I went into social work, now I'm a social worker. So I think that's what is lacking, that our parents don't know about college, is not put in their head. So we're pushing them to, yes, enroll in college. Yes, there's a way to fill out this FAMSA form. I know it's difficult, but it's not hard. We're here to help you. I know that there's also programs that they could apply for, even if they have a DACA, they're DACA recipients. So we just want to promote them that continue going to college, don't end in the factory, don't end in the fields. I mean, it's enough of us working already out there. So the new generation should be more prepared than us. The new generation should be more doctors, more lawyers, more architects, more of everything, and less laborers.
And it sounds like it's changing mindsets there among youth, saying that these are not only things to aspire to, but things that you should think about definitely doing, that you shouldn't think about the alternative at all. Certainly a discussion we could go on for a long time, but our thanks to Solomon Martinez, Berto Aguayo, and Baltazar Enriquez. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.